Sure. The next one I wanted to bring up was mine. So OpenAI has lost over 25% of its key talent in the last 24 months. This was a Pitchbook post. So I don't know if you saw this, but I was talking about it with Optimism.
I did see it.
Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, it's just really interesting. And a lot of people made a big deal about it because Meta is like trying to buy them out or buy out these key researchers in the team. Optimism dropped a really good article. I don't know if you read his, but his was really good. So he dropped this one and he said it might explain some of the churn. So this was from one of their key researchers. Um, and he just went into explaining a little bit of like what was going on inside of OpenAI. If this is not ChatGPT, Keyan, let's hope it's not. But let's just say hypothetically, this is not ChatGPT. This is actually like, how do you say, real. This is like a real account of what it's like working at OpenAI. And I read through it all. It was like it was really good. It read like a real testimonial what it's like at working at OpenAI. If this is real, everything's run off of Slack, which is kind of interesting. The other thing I found out was like a lot of them are key researchers running their own teams. And and I'm hopefully I'm not screwing this up, but from what it's described like is these key researchers are running their own team and they're basically told to go off and build and do these things. The other thing that's funny is that like when they were making their own, they called it like a codex or like a code. Maybe you know what it's called, but it's like this this kind of like this thing that was going to allow them to code faster. Where's it out?
Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but I do know.
Codex.
Okay.
Yeah, Codex. So they were gonna for like 7 weeks they were gonna go on this sprint and that he was a part of, and they're gonna go and build really really fast. And right after this sprint, they had to work like all day, basically what you work, which to me is like we're so used to it, like it's just like not a really.
They're not founders. They're just
Well, that's what he said. Like this is what basically Optimism was saying. He's like. He was basically where me and Optimism were talking about this, and Optimism said like turnover will stay high because you'll need some downtime after and your next adrenaline rush. The difference with the entrepreneurs at Club Lab is that their own goals. This means you don't have to search for the next challenge given to you. You'll find your own. Thinking about it, this is maybe even a bigger contributor to the churn. And I was like, snap, you're probably right because they're not used to that. But in reality, though, that like that's how you make great things though. Like for me, like how else are you going to get to like building something exceptional? Like that's what made OpenAI. Like in my opinion, I could be wrong, but when I saw this, I was just like, it was really informative to me because he talks about other things about when he was there and like all the cool stuff that they have, and it kind of sounded really interesting because he said it's like it started when it was at 1,000 people, and now it's at 3,000 people, and that Sam and all the people that are at the very top are really, really, really hands on with the company, and I was like, wow, that's pretty fascinating because a lot of people say terrible things. He also said that how like Twitter is at the top of their mind all the time, and like that's how they find out about a lot of the news, and they literally will pivot on a dime whenever they hear about what Meta's doing or Anthropic or some of these other big AI companies, and they'll just move on a dime. And that's what he loved that about OpenAI. So really fascinating post. I would definitely read what Optimism shared here. But overall, I wanted to ask you, Keyan, like, what do you think about all these people? Do you agree with what Optimism said? Do you think that's why they're losing so many of their research people and their leadership staff because they're technically already running a mini startup inside of OpenAI?
Yeah, I mean, they could be losing people due to burnout if the culture is maybe creating lots of burnout. That could be a thing. Another thing could be that because Meta has a more open source model, that they might be attracted to that they get to share more of their research. And that, especially for a researcher, that is a huge motivation, is to kind of improve the world broadly rather than improve the shareholders' position of OpenAI. And so I imagine that could draw them to Meta. And I imagine the culture at Meta, I imagine, Meta's been around for a very long time relative to OpenAI. So I imagine they have tons of like perks and things that really sweeten the deal for all kinds of employees, not just the AI people, but they have a huge team that they've been managing for a long time. And I suspect they're very good at doing it.
And they don't feel so like it's all on them to run these small little,
Yeah.
high performance teams, basically.
Yeah, it's like if they actually are giving them more money. We have a little bit of feedback in the. I don't know if that other microphone is hot, but yeah, I think that they could be paying them more. I actually saw an interesting, because I first heard about this when Sam Altman went on a podcast and he was talking about how they're offering some of his researchers $10 million a year, or just a $10 million signing bonus to leave and come to Meta. And actually a local here in San Antonio, Bill Gurley, I saw him on Twitter. And he wrote that this could be like 4D chess. And what could actually be going on is Sam Altman is going on these podcasts saying that his researchers getting offered $10 million signing bonuses because other researchers that are considering leaving for Meta, they'll go to Meta and Meta won't offer them a $10 million signing bonus, and they'll feel like they're getting like shortchanged, and they'll stay at OpenAI. That was like he's like, this might be 4D chess by Sam Altman, and there might not actually be that many researchers leaving and getting paid that much. He might just be
Getting ahead of it.
attempting to like.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's YC, so he would know how to do that.
Yeah, he might be trying to like stop the bleeding by creating the idea
The
that
open market.
that people
for the open market.
Yeah,
that's what Jobs and Adobe did, right?
Well, I don't know
back then.
Yeah, I don't know much about that, but I think that's plausible too. But according to this research report, if that number is true, 25% of it's key research talent. But the other thing is like there's a lot more AI companies now. Certainly more than the number of AI companies and the opportunities has grown more than 25% in the last few years.
I think you're probably more right on the what you said earlier about just Meta being a little bit more
chill.
Been there, done that. They have a little bit more things that are just a little bit more, stationed out. A lot of what OpenAI is doing is relatively new, right? Like Slack sounds like a terrible thing to run an entire organization that's worth billions. I mean, that could all be fake, but let's just take it at face value.
What would you use?
No, but I'm not running OpenAI. I'm just saying like a lot of it sounds completely like crazy, right? It sounds like craziness going on. But if you're Zuck and you're like out there, telling these guys you're offering all this outrageous amount of fiat, you are kind of probably giving them a way better deal with a lot more stability, and you're not basically telling them to run a startup within a startup, basically, which for them all they want is just some stability. So
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure they do want. I think they're this is like a bit of a pendulum swing that a lot of people go through in their careers, where they go to a startup, they get kind of burned out. Their next move is to go on a chill vacation job, but then they get super disappointed in how slow moving the chill vacation job is, and they're not as effective. They're not making as much impact. They actually feel worse about their overall standing.
But it's saying right here they're literally losing 25%.
Yeah, because I think that's, especially a lot of these researchers have been in their first job outside of academia. Then they're like, wow, this is too much. And then they're going to go somewhere like Meta, which is this huge, basically this sort of like legacy company at this point.
I also said on the Stacker.News post that I do think that OpenAI will still grab all the research, the graduates and just from all the top colleges and universities around the world. Like they're going to grab those people easily, because if you're coming out of these places, like you're going to want to go work for OpenAI. That's going to set you up for life. Do you know what I mean? You're not going to want to go to Meta.
I don't know if it would set you up for life anymore. Maybe it would but I think their valuation is already high. So you're coming in, several years into the startup. So you're, whatever.
Well, not several years, technically like 2 years, right?
Yeah. Oh, but that's a couple years. The comp package is probably not it. Maybe there's a lot more upside, but they're already worth like, I think $1 trillion or something.
Yeah.
So you might get a 10x on your equity, and let's say maybe you get a couple $100,000. Yeah, so you could, you stay for a good 4 years. You could maybe end up a millionaire, or maybe another company comes out, or maybe Meta, takes enough talent that they build a better AI and a better model, and they,
What
OpenAI
would you do?
doesn't
What
become
would
that
you do
valuable.
if you were in that position?
I go to work at a startup, an AI startup,
So
one of
you would be a part
the
of that
smaller
25%?
companies. No, I wouldn't go to Meta. I would, well, if I don't know if that 25% was people going to Meta, but I would not have started at OpenAI to begin with. Maybe, well, unless I'd been there since it was younger.
Because you don't like Sal Mountain? Or?
No, just because of the size. I would prefer smaller size, smaller team, more impact, more responsibility, more diverse skill set development.
Yeah.